So this week Nottingham Forest have announced to give us an update on the future of the City Ground, this being a very big development which has been going on for a while now, and something that I've not really spoken about that much on the channel before. So I want to take a closer look at how things have been unravelling. Now, this story kind of came about a few months ago when the lease was being reported as we needed to get a new lease for the ground, and it was actually a lot shorter than we all thought it was. Then that kind of led to discussions of Forest maybe moving stadiums altogether and building a new ground in Tottenham, which, for your information, is closer to the city of Derby than the actual city of Nottingham. That wouldn't have gone down well. Oh, Miss rolling into Toten doesn't sound quite the same, does it? Nothing's been confirmed just yet, but Forest in the last week, and from multiple other sources, there's been lots of reports saying that Forest are going to buy the land of the City Ground, so it will be theirs. It will no longer be the council's. That removes one big problem of it not actually being our land, so we can do what we want with it. Also, at the time of recording, we are just over 100 subscribers away from 6,000 subscribers. Yeah, could you do that for me, please? Could you help me out? Let's get to 6k. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, you can become a channel member. I thought I'd throw that in there too, because I've not mentioned it enough, and I wouldn't mind you becoming a member, really, no pressure. Now, a while ago, we heard that the land would cost 10 million to buy. In football terms, that is a drop in the ocean, as we all know these days. 10 million is basically one Matt Turner. If you can pay 10 million for Matt Turner, then you can probably pay, not being offensive to Matt Turner, I'm sure he's a nice guy, I'm sure he likes a nice croissant. You could pay 110 million for the City Ground. You really could, if he's worth that much. So if we're looking at this seriously, for 10 million, it's a no-brainer that you buy the land. This is your home. The point is the stadium of a football club is probably one of the first things you think of when you're thinking of a certain team. Now, yes, we've seen other teams move stadiums. Everton are in the process of doing so. They're going to leave a very traditional ground at Goodison Park. Their new ground looks fantastic. I'm sure they'll have a lot of memories in there, finishing 16th every season. It's obviously a better infrastructure, that stadium, but is it going to have the same magic and soul? Probably not for a while, and it's the same with Tottenham, same with West Ham, leaving Upton Park on White Hart Lane to go to ultimately much better stadiums, infrastructure. I mean, Spurs' ground looks unbelievable. It's more than just a football ground, it's basically an entertainment venue. But I think if you were to ask most West Ham and Spurs fans, do you miss Upton Park, do you miss White Hart Lane, which do you prefer? I bet a lot would say, I miss the old ground. That's just one story, but with Forest, it's not just a case of us wanting to potentially move grounds or have at least considered it. It's the logistics behind it. It's not like our ground is just a dump. Some might say that it is, Derby fans. I think if you look at our stadium, the Bridgeford end, the Brian Clough stand and the Trent end are perfectly fine. What lets our ground down is the main stand, is the Peter Taylor stand. That's what needs renovating. Now, Forest in 2019, so 5 years ago, obviously made very big plans to completely rebuild that stand and then a bit of infrastructure outside of the ground. But of course, a lot's changed since then, with the pandemic, I think, playing a part, and obviously getting promoted to the Premier League. Ambitions have changed. A lot's changed since then. And then I think a lot of dealings with, like, you know, the council as well. It's all got a bit complicated, if I'm honest. It's really held back the redevelopment of the main stand, and 5 years later from when it was announced that we were going to have that happen, going into a third year in the Premier League now, which is crazy, we obviously still don't have a new stand. And I'm starting to think that is it ever actually going to happen, even if we buy it out, because albeit the cost of a new stand would be, well, an insane amount, right, compared to Marinakis having a new box put in just for him. Why would you have that paid for and built if you're just going to knock it down in a year or two? That's what I'm starting to think. Is it ever actually going to get built, even if we own the land? I'm starting to think it won't, at least for quite some time still. I hope it does happen, because if you just look at the ground, it does let it down a bit. It's the one that's looking quite old, isn't it? I mean, it is old. It's the only existing stand from the original City Ground, I think. So it's definitely due to be rebuilt. And of course, rebuilding the stand would mean a much bigger stadium too. It could be about 40,000. I think Forest, one of the reasons why they wanted to go to Toten, or a new stadium, was they wanted to build a 50,000 seater stadium. And I get that they are obviously on about ticket sales and making as much revenue as possible. That's obviously very important. Maybe don't pay, Harry Arter 4 million a year to do nothing. That might, help you save a bit of money, Forest. Rest in peace, Harry Arter. He's now gone. Not forgotten, of course. He's not dead. He's just left the football club finally. Anyway, the point of this video is that Forest have pretty much confirmed that they are in the process of buying out the land for the City Ground, which is great, and that's what we want. I'm just starting to wonder whether we're actually going to redevelop it, if we're going to be staying here or not. Is that ever going to happen? It is just kind of the thing that we need to see. I mean, we're clearly doing alternative strategies, putting in shipping containers in the far corner, which is going to look different. We're in the process of doing that right now. In fact, will it be done for the new season? Not sure, but yeah, it's going to look very interesting. That I'm not too fussed on potentially sitting there. I'm not sure how it's going to work. Other football clubs have done it. I think it's more of a thing that's happened abroad. I'm not too sure. I'm really not sure about that one, if I'm honest, but it is going to look interesting and different. Probably would be a bit of a meme to rival fans, but it's what it is. The good thing is we can stay at our famous home and continue to have very special nights at the City Ground, which is where we belong, right? We've already changed so much of the team and league, even, and manager. Let's not change the stadium as well, because then you're basically ripping out the heart of the club and taking away the club from the city, in essence. Let's not do that. It's great that we're staying put. I just wanted to do a little video talking about this whole situation, which I've not really spoken about before in any great detail, about the future of the City Ground. So I've done that now. So I hope you enjoyed. If you have enjoyed, please hit the like button, subscribe to Rads if you're new. And yes, pre-season starts this week as well, by the way. Players back in training. Chesterfield away this weekend in our first friendly. That's a nice little way to kick things off. Yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. Up the Reds.